The following is an AZPM original production.
For AZPM, I'm Mark McLemore, and this is Arizona Spotlight. Coming up, did you know that the moon has what could be called two Grand Canyons? Some new science out of NAU is helping us understand how they got there. Hear about a new play at the Rogue Theater that explores issues of identity, aging, memory loss, and artificial intelligence. And more from the essay project, The Class of 2024. Those stories are next on Arizona Spotlight. Although we can't see them from Earth, the far side of the moon has its own versions of the Grand Canyon, two of them in fact, and a new study explains how these deep canyons were formed. Next, KNAU's Melissa Sivany spoke with planetary scientist David Kring about the findings.
What made you want to go study how these canyons were formed?
Before the current Artemis program, there was a constellation program. And NASA went to the National Academy of Sciences and said, what are our national priorities if we go back to the moon? And as it turned out, the Schrödinger impact basin, which is on the far side of the moon and hidden from our view, was the best place to do the most science. And so for the last 15 years, we've been studying the Schrödinger impact basin. Recently, we turned our attention to the debris that was ejected from the basin, and that led us to take a closer look at these two canyons.
Cool. Yeah. So tell me about that. So this is an impact basin on the far side of the moon. It's got these two canyons, they look like rays kind of radiating out from it. What did you find about how they were formed?
So we've determined that an asteroid roughly 25 kilometers in diameter hit the lunar surface about 3.8 billion years ago. And in the process of excavating that huge basin, it threw up a curtain of debris. And within that curtain of debris were two streams of rock. And that material arched over the lunar surface and then came crashing back down. And it produced a series of impact craters in a kind of a staccato fashion, boom, 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 boom. And these were huge craters, so 1,000 times bigger than our own meteor crater just down the road. And collectively, all of these impact craters form these long, linear, radial canyons.
I remember in the paper you kind of showed side by side what they look like compared to the Grand Canyon. Tell me about that.
Yes, I mean, so everybody's familiar with the Grand Canyon, our beloved Grand Canyon. It's roughly, if you go from along the Bright Angel Trail, about 25 kilometers across. And our canyons are similar. They're 20 to 27 kilometers across. They're a little bit deeper. They're 2.7 to 3.5 kilometers deep. Boy, would that be a hike. And so they're just enormous. And one of the things that our calculations showed was that they are produced very quickly. So we all know the story of the Grand Canyon taking millions of years to carve, whereas in this impact cratering process, these canyons were excavated in minutes, likely less than 10 minutes, which is extraordinarily fast.
What makes you so excited to study these kinds of processes, impact craters and things smashing into other things?
First of all, this landscape. Imagine, these canyons are the size of the Grand Canyon. And by the way, they're not too far from mountain summits that dwarf Mount Everest. So the landscape on the lunar South Polar region and on the far side is just extraordinary. And I tell people, if it was on the Earth, these would be national or international parks. But also, it's that downstream look, an opportunity to explore that region of the moon and begin piecing together the earliest history of the moon. And people will say, well, why do we need to study the moon? And I point out to people that when we're studying these earliest epochs of the moon, we are in fact studying the earliest epoch of Earth, which has been erased. And so if you really want to understand what happened in the first 5, 6, 700 million years of Earth history, you have no other choice but to go to the moon. And so it's fun to go to the moon and understand and appreciate that you're also getting a better understanding of home.
That's lovely. I really like that. David Kring, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
My pleasure.
That was Melissa Sivany from KNAU speaking with planetary scientist David Kring. What would you remember and what would you forget if you got a chance to make the choice? The Rogue Theater's new production, Marjorie Prime, explores the mysteries of human identity and the limits of what technology can do for us. Next, I'm joined by the play's director, Christopher Johnson, and the lead performers, Cynthia Meyer and Ryan Parker Knox. I began by asking director Johnson about why this play was chosen to be part of Rogue Theater's 20th anniversary season.
This play is maybe a lot more contemporary than a play you would typically see at the Rogue. It's set in the near future, but paints a really uncanny portrait of the present moment in which we see artificial intelligence on this meteoric rise in all of our lives. I think what we love about the play, and maybe what you could say our business as a classical theater company taking on such a contemporary work, has to do with the human question at the heart of the play. Artificial intelligence, I think, is sort of what gets your attention about Marjorie Prime, but the play is really about what innovations in this technology have already revealed about what it really means to be human, to be alive together, to relate to one another, to connect to one another, even to recognize one another.
Cindy, would you have something you'd want to add?
Yeah, I totally agree with Christopher. Not only about how the play is about what it means to be human, but what there is that we want to keep about being human as well. So as we become more technical, more artificially intelligent, that what are those things about being human that we want to keep? And also just to add that we do classics at the Rogue, but we are really dedicated to masterpieces. And I think this falls into that category of being a masterpiece of contemporary drama. And so I'm really excited that we're doing it.
Ryan, we were talking a little bit in the lobby beforehand, and I think you told me this play was written about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But you still found it prophetic in the vision that it was latching onto of where we might be tomorrow.
Yeah, the author had when he was writing it, an amazing grasp of what technology could be, and I don't know if he expected it to happen as quickly thereafter as he did, but it's incredible how poignant it is in today's technological age. This is a pretty magnificent piece.
Just as an illustration of there being a lot to talk about, we did a staged reading of the play about a year and a half ago, and the play itself runs about an hour and 25 minutes. Our post-show discussion afterwards ran about an hour. People had so much to talk about after the play was heard, and so I think you'll have tons of things to think about after you see the play.
Something that we deal with a lot, in Arizona with our older population is dealing with the ravages of memory loss and what it's been doing to people and families. Is the purpose of the AI in the play to be some sort of memory assistant, perhaps? Am I anywhere close to the truth?
Oh, absolutely. The play is very much about the link between our memory and our identity, and by virtue of that, our humanity, and how much of our humanity we're able to hold on to and maintain as we age, and as the brain declines, as we battle with the indignities of aging. Part of what inspired Jordan Harrison to write the play was his grandmother, who was in her 90s, and he watched as his parents visited her in an assisted living home and reminded her every day of who she was, of the people she had loved and the things that she had done in her life in order to essentially keep her human. And this reminded him of how when we train large language models, when we use ChatGPT, they take what we feed them, the text, in order to sound more human in return. And so that was the inciting parallel that inspired the writing of the play.
And Cindy, as a performer, what does it mean to you to play a character with such vulnerability, whose own identity is slipping away? What kind of thoughts have you had as you've shaped the character of Marjorie?
Oh, it's incredibly moving to me to live inside this woman who is struggling to maintain her memories and maintain her dignity. It's been challenging because I'm looking into my not so distant future and thinking about, well, what is it that I want to keep? What is it that I hope to remember from my life? And it's beautiful and hard and thought-provoking.
Ryan, you found another plum role for yourself here. How do you find the right mixture of artificial and intelligent?
It's pretty profound that with everything going on in the world right now, I am feeling a lot of things inwardly and sometimes outwardly. And then a role like this comes along where I'm not saying my character doesn't feel, but I mean, the character is synthetic. And so everything it does think and feel, it's been instructed how to do so, which I guess as an actor is, I mean, that's kind of what I've made a career out of, is being told how to feel. It's proven a challenge for me and other characters in the play that play primes that when we're such empathetic people, it's proven very challenging to not emote and sympathize, and but it's fascinating to wrap my head around how to do that and still be a character that people can hopefully identify with, appreciate, and like, and get to know.
Christopher, is there anything you want the audience to know about how this is going to be staged, about the challenges you may have faced bringing this to life?
There are two things that I'd love to point out, and some of which to add on what Ryan was saying. Figuring out how an actor should portray artificial intelligence on stage is one of the wildest challenges I think we've ever tackled in the room at the Rogue. And one of the biggest challenges that came up for the actors was not letting the human character's emotions impact how they reacted. It was really interesting in rehearsal watching just what it was that made a human actor a human actor, and trying to pull those things out. Guess what I would want people to know about the play? That it's not a warning. It doesn't take a stance, any kind of negative or positive stance on artificial intelligence or technology or the future, what might be coming, what might happen to us. It's really about us right now, sort of on the precipice of great change.
Well, we're going to hear Cindy and Ryan perform a scene, a brief excerpt from the play. Do you think that this needs any kind of setup?
This is from the opening of the play, and it's between Marjorie and her AI companion, Walter, and they're still getting to know each other, but they've been at it for a few months, and Walter knows a fair amount of Marjorie's history to the point where he can now help her recall it. Marjorie Prime by Jordan Harrison. Marjorie, 85, sits in a recliner. Marjorie's visitor, Walter, looks like a young career man from 1998. He seems to be in his 30s, bright-eyed and handsome in an unspectacular way.
I feel like I have to perform around you.
Well, you don't.
I know.
It's just me. It's just Walter.
Maybe it isn't bad if I feel that way. I used to entertain a lot.
I remember.
You do?
Marjorie, where are the dishes?
The girl did them.
She doesn't come till 2.
I did them.
You didn't. Your arthritis.
I had a good day.
Marjorie, we both know what no dishes means.
It means I haven't been eating.
Even a spoonful of peanut butter.
I'm not hungry. It's their fault, feeding me all those pills.
The pills are their fault?
Yes.
Or your doctor?
Maybe if she got Jif.
Maybe if she...
She always gets the kind you have to stir, or there's an oil slick on top. And she calls that healthy.
Even a spoonful?
You sound like them.
I sound like whoever I talk to.
Let's talk about something else.
I could tell you a story. You liked that the last time.
I'll have to take your word for it.
I could tell you about the time we went to the movies.
We went to a lot of movies.
But one time, we saw my best friend's wedding.
My best friend's wedding.
There's a woman, Julia Roberts. For a while, it was always Julia Roberts. And she has an agreement with her best friend, her male best friend, that if they're not married by a certain age, then they'll marry each other. And she's about to remind him of the agreement, but it turns out he's already fallen in love with this nice blonde, Cameron Diaz. And so Julia Roberts spends the whole movie trying to ruin things between her friend and Cameron Diaz, which is not very sympathetic behavior for America's sweetheart. But it's all okay in the end, and she has a gay best friend who delivers one-liners.
Did I like it?
You said you wanted a gay best friend afterward.
Did I get one?
I'm afraid I don't have that information.
Why did you pick that story? Why did you pick my best friend's wedding?
It's the night I proposed to you.
Oh, Marjorie. The things you forget. You were trying to tell me and I wouldn't let you.
That's all right.
Kind of unfortunate, isn't it?
What?
Julia Roberts, forever etched upon our lives. Oh, what if we saw Casablanca instead? Let's say we saw Casablanca in an old theater with velvet seats. And then, on the way home, you proposed. Then, by the next time we talk, it will be true.
You mean make it up?
You're very serious. You're like them. Especially Tess.
Our daughter.
Our daughter, Tess, and her over-solicitous husband. No, that's not fair. I like him. I didn't, but now I do.
Do you like me?
Don't be an idiot.
Don't call me an idiot.
Idiot.
Why do you like me if I'm an idiot?
Well, there are some things you know.
What kinds of things? What?
I'll get in trouble.
In trouble?
For talking to you that way. In trouble with Tess. Everything gets me in trouble with her. She's the mother now.
Tell me more about your mother.
You don't always understand, do you?
The Rogue Theatre presents Marjorie Prime, written by Jordan Harrison, directed by Christopher Johnson, starring Cynthia Meyer and Ryan Parker Knox. The play can be seen from February 21st through March 16th, and the Rogue Theatre is in the historic Y Building at 300 East University. Now another chapter of a special project called the Class of 2024. The students that graduated from Tucson High Magnet School last fall were unique in many ways. A generation who had grown up in the public school system with active shooter drills since kindergarten. They also began their high school careers in 2020 under the shadow of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Art Almquist, the drama teacher at Tucson High for 28 years, also made the decision to retire last year, leaving behind a thriving drama department and a theater that was named after him. Mr. Almquist suggested to a group of his most dedicated students that they try their hand at composing essays that portray different aspects of their high school experience. In response were 8 essays that challenged commonly held perceptions of what their generation is like. We'll be presenting some of these essays this month on Arizona Spotlight. Next, we'll hear how one of Art's students embraced the extra time off from school that came with the early days of the pandemic. only to then realize the disruption of normal routines brought with it chaos and anxiety.
My name is Jordan Murillo. I am in the class of 2024, and my story is called Adapting to the Times. I wake up to the sound of my alarm clock going off, alerting me that it's time to get ready for school. The typical routine consists of getting dressed, doing my hair, brushing my teeth, and etc. Little did I know, I wasn't going to have to do that, and for a while. I mentally prepare for the sounds of chirping birds and gravel shuffling as I lock my house doors to walk to my last middle school bus I was about to ride for my 8th grade year. During the ride, social media users, or as I call them, kids, are already tapped in on the latest news of the so-and-so alleged virus going around called Corona. As the ride goes by, I do my best to ignore what's being said of this virus, but couldn't help but think, what if it's true? The day goes on, and I try to ignore my brain rot thoughts and just focus on my education for once. All of a sudden, my thoughts come back from the morning bus, and the overthinking and panic settles in. This hoax is really starting to crawl at my skin for some reason. But guess what? I ignore it. The next day goes by, and I wake up to the fresh feeling of spring break. How exciting. I think of what I'll do with my friends and play a lot of video games. The break goes on till it gets to the last day as I take in the last day before school starts again until suddenly, the middle school calls saying we are getting an extra week off due to the spread of the virus till it goes down. Woo! My feelings, nothing but excitement. I was ecstatic, and to the point I was almost grateful for this virus for giving us an extra week. I waste no time and hop on the game and tell my friends to hop online so we can work towards that damn victory royale. That fun week ends, and then we're told another week is being added. This could be funner. Or will it? A month goes by of no school. We are in mid-April at this point, and something unusual was happening to me. I missed school. I missed my teachers and a learning environment. And to replace that environment, we had an 8:05 a.m. login into Zoom on our personal or school devices to see our teachers and classmates through a screen. I started off my freshman year of high school through a screen, and haven't learned anything but insecurity of hiding my face when turning my camera on and worrying about the people around me in my household. My parents, who had just got married in February. What if all this COVID shopping and spending makes their marriage risky? My baby sister, who was born in October of 2019 and now has to face this pandemic at only 9-10 months old. What if one day we bring something and she gets infected? My grandpa, who we had to take dear care of due to my mother being the youngest sibling in the family and being left with the burden to take care of her father, causing her to be a mother for her new baby girl and a caregiver. The pressure was too much and had to force her to quit her job at Arizona Eye Consultants due to taking him to his dialysis appointments and feeding him certain foods as he is also a diabetic, while almost risking every day of contracting symptoms due to his compromised immune system. The money situation and billing now being left to my father, who has to get ready and leave for work at 2 a.m. and have to put food on the table for us and taking care of our house bills and any other insurance, stuff like that, etc. He'd come home every week with at least 55 plus hours in and would just be worn out. Now, I felt like a deprived, useless son with slipping grades, insecurities, and overall depression. Every morning and day was the same repetitive routine. I was going insane. And to follow with all of that, all I could ask myself was, will this ever end? Will I ever go back to school? Is this school now? Are my friends still my friends because I haven't seen them in a long time? Emotions impacted me all at once, as all I could think about were all the memories and experiences that were stripped of me at a young age and that could have shaped me to be a better young man. At this time, life was already downhill, and as a young teenager, all I could do was what humans were good at, adapting.
The isolation of the pandemic, while maddening to some, gave others a break from unwanted social interaction. With that extra time to think, one student found the courage to make a significant and long-wanted change to their identity.
My name is Kai. I'm from class of 2024, and this is my story. I was one of thousands of transgender youth going through peak teenage development during COVID times. For the longest time, I was avoiding who I was. The boy that was inside me wanted to be anything else. I just wanted to fit in with who I thought everyone wanted me to be. And being locked in my room for a year made me fear myself more than anything else. I tried to hide the person I was inside. I stayed in my room and talked to nobody. And every day I tried to pretend I was still comfortable with some form of femininity. I still wore dresses. I still kept my room the same. I still let everyone refer to me as a girl. But I isolated myself for as long as possible so no one could refer to me at all. I tried convincing my mom that a short haircut was only because it's so hot outside. Nothing worked. I was still me. It took years to accept that I wasn't a girl. I knew for a long time that I was a boy, but there's still some form of disappointment from people around you that comes with fully transitioning from female to male. So I tried to keep she, her in my list of pronouns that people could call me. I did this until the sound of it made me physically sick. It wasn't until COVID had passed and I was able to surround myself with my friends and teachers who saw me as the person I am, that I got the confidence to show everyone else that I will no longer pretend to be someone who they want me to be. Whether it's easier for them or force of habit, I know who I am and I will stand up for myself. Today I stand as Malachi Kingman. There is a name that I was born with, but that person isn't me. Not even close. Today I stand a man, and nothing can take that away from me.
To hear more heartfelt and hopeful essays, plus a roundtable discussion and Q&A with all 8 of the class of 2024 students, there'll be a live performance of Arizona Spotlight Presents the Class of 2024 on Saturday, March 1st at 6:30 p.m. in the Art Almquist Theater at Tucson High School. For information and to reserve your spot, visit azpm.org/class of 24. Thank you for listening to Arizona Spotlight. This show is a production of AZPM. The production engineer is Jem Blackwood. The assistant producer is Sophia Hammer. I'm producer and host Mark McLemore.
AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.